Today I'm going to be talking about stem mixing. This is very different from multitracks. So stems are different types of audio that have the effects already on them. So if I play the drums, you can hear various compression and reverb on them as well. They're also given to you in their sometimes panned form, and also you get to find out if they're stereo, if they're mono at the same time as well. Looking at these aren't panned at all, these are straight centered, but as you can see there's not much panning done to them. So starting off, we're going to look at the intro. You're going to have to apologise for the audio quality here. I don't have my adapter to help with the headphones. So, as you can see, straight center. The reason for that is that you just want it straight in your stereo image, but when we come into this main part here, you can hear various instruments are panned left and right. Now with stem mixing, what you'll find is that you don't actually have to add too many effects. So I have a decapitator on the bass just to add some drive to it. So if I just play this, there's not much to it. There's a bit more crunch on the overhead there, just above the sound. But all your stems will come with effects already on them, so it's basically just balancing out your mix, you know, using gain staging initially. As you can see, the colouring scheme is a little bit odd as well, but that just means that you're working with less tracks. You're only working with a total of 9 in total instead of your typical 50 odd tracks. So just going through the main part of the track here, you mainly want to check that everything's balanced, everything's sounding alright, and for this I'm using correlation meters. So I'm using 2 different types of correlation meters. You can also use the multimeter plugin here in Logic, which will show you the correlation right here and also the frequency array. And you can use the goniometer to check your stereo image as well, turn the decay down, get instantaneous, or get a longer decay as well and see where everything's staying. Now why do I use 2 correlation meters? So I have one here going really slow, so that's going to give me an overall correlation of the track in general, and then I'm using one fast. You can change this by the drop down menu, just by the reaction. And the one on the right, the fast reaction, is giving me quick feedback, so what's playing in the moment, how is that reacting in the stereo field, is it adjusting, and what you want is you want it to be as close to +1 as you can. So if I go to this initial part, as you can see, it's a 1. Because all you have is something playing stereo in the center. There's no panning anywhere, but as you get further across, as you can see, the stereo image gets a little bit faded, so you want to try and figure out what in the whole session is causing that correlation to change rapidly. So that's all you basically have to do. Sometimes you'll add a bit of compression, a bit of EQ just to take out some wrong frequencies. I believe this is just an overtone that I'm taking out. So nothing too crazy. I mean, you can add some stuff as well to your master, just boosting some frequencies with a high Q. And that's just light mixing. So this is being sent to various artists as well, so a lot of artists will get this track and be able to work from it. My computer froze for a second there. But what I am going to do is I'm going to keep this unmastered. You can do a very quick master if you wanted to bring it to industry standard. You can kind of check that as well with the, I use Ulean, but any type of metering system. But if I check Ulean here and just play the track, you can see it's running at -17.2 LUFS. Industry standard is about neg 14, neg 13 on Spotify. So good thing to keep in mind, but I can do another tutorial on mastering at another point. But as a basic overview, that's what you want to do with your tracks. Get them all gain stage, get them all run down so they're kind of running at about neg 15. And then when you add your compression, all the things on top, Make sure that your stereo isn't clipping. This is quite a good level. You don't have to worry about the summing stack or the sum of all the levels on your stereo out being at neg 4. You don't want it to be at neg 15 because you'll be a bit too quiet, but you can just run off the individual tracks themselves and then adjust the faders accordingly. Use pre-fader monitoring when you are gain staging, or if you're trying to gain stage with plugins on, as that will do everything before the track has before the plugins come into effect, where post fader metering is after all the effects as well. So you can also check and make sure that your plugins are going in and out at the same level, so your plugins aren't changing volume too much. But that is the main part of stem mixing. Don't do too many things, especially if the mix is a solid mix like this one here, done by John Gale. But yeah, this will be sent off to quite a few artists, and they'll be able to produce and put their vocals on top of it. And from there, that's when we'll go into our next stage of mixing the vocals in, doing our own compression, reverb, which I'll also make another video on when the time comes to it. But at this moment, we're going to bounce it out using Command B. We're going to choose which type we want. PCM is a WAV file, MP3, etc, etc. So we're going to choose PCM just for our main mix, and you can see I've already done one here. So I'm going to label it 2. Put an underscore. It's up to you. You can do whatever you want as your labeling system. Just make sure it's organized. Then we're going to bounce it. So that's my take on stem mixing. Obviously, you have a few other tracks. I'll do different things, but your main points are finding yourself your gain staging, your balance, and also any other types of EQ or dynamic mixing that you want to do. So hopefully this will become help and help someone out there. If you have any questions, feel free just to comment. Make sure you check out my Instagram at Kian Russell Music and my YouTube Kian Russell. And I'll see you in the next video.